The average person smiles about 20 times a day. But how many of those smiles are real? Hey guys! Welcome back to another video of Vanjano. I'm Van. Jan's not with me, as you can see. He's actually attending a live meet and greet at a school. And while he's there, he's actually going to go to one of the English classrooms and talk to the students about a book that he just read. Now this gave me the idea of making my own crash course literature video for you guys at home for the book that I read. Today I'll be diving into the depths of the novel Happyface, written and illustrated by Stephen Emond. It's written in journal format and there's a lot of really neat drawings and comics that he drew himself, which makes the book really interesting. It's a great read that tackles the truth of forced smiles and fake happiness. So to begin, I'm gonna give you guys a brief overview of the novel. Happyface takes us through a journey told through journal entries and comic drawings of a socially awkward teenager that experiences traumatic events in his hometown. When moving to another school, he decides to reinvent himself by forgetting about the past, putting on a grin, and claiming the nickname Happyface. As the story progresses, Happyface realizes that he is not truly happy with his current state. His relationship with his friends, teachers, family become unstable when the secret of his past is continuously surfacing. The only way to escape his problems is to battle it face on and being genuine to himself. The intimate confessions, the realistic drawings, this is what made the novel really unique. Now, besides trying to make a living, why did Stephen make this novel for? Surely he had some sort of message he wanted to enlighten the readers with, but what was it? Now, after reading this book and admiring all the sketches, I was able to come up with my very own idea of what the true meaning of Happyface is. The main theme of this book is that we should not hide from our problems by wearing a mask to conceal our thoughts and feelings away. We need to be able to accept that life isn't perfect, and there are going to be moments of anger, sadness, and embarrassment. We don't always have to show the good things. It's perfectly normal to show the bad days too, and embrace those days. That's what makes us human. The moment we lock ourselves away, that's the moment we stop being genuine to ourselves. The problem is not going to disappear until we confront it. A different way to look at it is to compare it to fruits. Picture yourself going grocery shopping and deciding to buy apples. You stand in front of rows and rows of shiny ruby red apples that are identical to each other. Despite the good appearances, not all those apples are the same inside once you cut through. Some will look and taste different from others, but it doesn't mean that one is more superior. In fact, it's more deceitful to learn that an apple that seemed to be perfect on the outside, but actually had a few flaws on the inside, all while trying to be something they weren't. It's a lot more trusting to see an apple with a few bumps and bruises here and there. It shows that it was made from the heart, and it's not a mechanical robot. An example from the book was when Happyface realizes that Chloe, the girl who he thought was completely out of his league, was actually just as insecure as he was. He found out that she liked him too, but was too afraid to say something, fearing that he will reject her. In his journal, he wrote on page 285 that, "I guess Dad was right when he told me we're all just people. Chloe isn't just some popular supermodel ballerina. She's a girl with feelings just like mine." Another example was Happyface's father. His marriage was getting really rocky and he had a lot of psychological issues. Instead of confiding to someone, he turned to alcohol, which made things a lot worse. He became depressed and had a lot of anxiety. His sons had no idea, since he hid it from them, believing it was a disgraceful moment in his life that he'll eventually move on from, and that was not the case. Once Happyface's mother told him about his father, this is what he had to say on page 295. "I never thought of my dad as a dark person. I just thought he was quiet." The last example is of course our protagonist. When creating a new identity, he had to throw away his. Art was such a huge part of his life, and he gave it up, but he didn't just give up art, he gave up a part of himself. He used to draw a lot in his sketchbook, and then once he moved to another school, he drew less and less, and he stopped showing other people his artistic abilities. Something he was so proud of became something he was ashamed of, which is really unfortunate. When Chloe visited and learned that he gave up art, she was so concerned, saying, "What do you mean? That was your everything. That was part of your identity." This all builds up when his new friends discovered that everything he was telling them was really a lie, and they feel betrayed. He lied about his past, his family, his interests, and himself. They didn't know who he was. They just knew that he was some character, just Happyface, and no one else. This is where the crisis begins, when they decide to shun him as they realize that he wasn't being a good friend. An interesting fact that I wanted to tell you guys is that the author Stephen, he initially intended the story to be a lot darker and gloomy compared to the released version. The factor that made him change the atmosphere of his story was his drawings. His editor had given him the idea to incorporate his artistic abilities into the novel. He liked the idea, agreeing that it would give his book that unique edge and that sometimes you can't simply put things into words and instead put it into visuals. His drawings had a huge impact on the overall vibe. It changed from a depressing and dark story to a more lighthearted and meaningful one. By having his drawings be included, it gave the story a sense of personality as it felt more intimate and personal. A quotation that I felt was really important to mention was said by Voya magazine. It says, "Happyface never emerges as more than a stick figure head in his pictures, but readers don't need to know what he looks like. They need to understand how his heart works and is laid bare here." This quotation is vital as it points out the lingering questions that readers have. What is Happyface's real identity? What is his name? From the quote, it says that even though his identity is not shown, his feelings are, and readers are able to relate to him even more. And eventually, they'll be able to fill up the empty spot of his identity with their own. I believe that's the effect that Stephen intended to inflict on the audience. He wanted them to place themselves in Happyface's shoes, and I think it worked. Another quote is said by Gretchen, who gives Happyface some advice during his crisis. She tells him, "You have to deal with your past eventually, because you won't be happy until you do." This implies that if we brush off our worries, they'll become the anchor that holds us down when trying to sail off to happiness. Instead of throwing the anchor off the boat, reel it in so your journey to happiness can set sail smoothly. There's actually one last quote that I want to include in my video, and it's from the book itself. It's after the crisis has calmed down and Happyface has taken some time to reevaluate his decisions and really think about what makes him Happyface. "I swear with Chloe Bear once again as my witness, that my problems and failures will not stop me, nor will they dictate who I am, that I will continue to be my own person, that life is too short and I will live every day as the best person I can be, that I will grow and that I will change, that I will smile and hold my head up high, that this is a new start and a new day, that I will allow myself to cry or sit by myself when I need to, that I will find things to really smile about." I think that last statement and really the whole paragraph itself was not only directed at himself, but towards the audience. It's telling them to not go with the flow of the crowd and do whatever they want, but to take in activities, to do things that interest them, that make them happy. And that it's okay if there's a mistake. That's life. Life is full of mistakes and moments of embarrassment, sadness, and anger, as I just said before. And that's okay, as long as you are able to take that moment, learn and grow as a person. That's all that matters. It's easy to put on a smile to ensure that everything was okay and that everything's fine, as a simple smile is the best makeup to apply on. But I think it's better if we go natural, don't you? I chose to do this crash course video on this book because I believe it has a meaningful and relatable message for young adults and teens. Hopefully after reading this book, people will realize that the only way to obtain happiness is to be true and accept who they are and not live a life to please others. Overall, this book was a joy to read and I highly recommend it for those to read also, either as pleasure reading or for those who lost their smile. Hopefully the humor, the amazing drawings, and the stories will make you think and maybe giggle to yourself. Let's take off our mask and let's find things to really smile about. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, comment, and to subscribe. See you next time. Bye!